These two have played twice before, with the head-to-head record standing at 1 apiece. Haas won their first encounter, and Hewitt came back to win on hard court earlier this year in Miami.
Where indeed Leighton made the semi-finals there. Masters Series event.
Oh, gee, I don't know. Oh.
Well, maybe a similar ball to what Leighton had called out earlier in this game. Tommy making his point.
Well, I would have thought that one was might have caught the edge.
Good though, both players making their point. Not becoming overly extroverted about it, just plainly making their point, letting the umpire know they think they got a bad one. He's still got a game point here, Haas, at 40-30.
Yes.
Now back to Juice. I have just lost his concentration a little. I just feel this is the thing that is going to determine how far Tommy Haas goes in the tennis world. I've got no doubt he's got the game to really be a great player. I just sometimes doubt whether his application and his mental approach to it is as sound as it needs to be. But, you know, he's still pretty young. He can mature, for sure. And Gavin Hopper's been around a long time. You mentioned him as his new coach and advisor. Gavin knows what's going on.
Well, the return, they're just a little bit short from Leighton, and it gives Haas the opportunity to attack. And the majority of high-class players these days, they just don't hesitate. If the ball is dropped short, as this one is, look at him, steps in straight away, seizes the opportunity to have his body weight moving forward to generate a lot of power into the corner, and the backhand was good enough. So Haas holding on, just a minor scare there for him at Juice. But good enough to come through and hold his serve there for 2-1 in the first set.
Let's have a look at the serve of Tommy Haas. He's a very powerful man. Throws the ball out in front, extension right up to the ball so that he can take full advantage of his height. Transfers the weight into the court, and that sets up many points for him, particularly as we saw there, a big serve and then a big forehand. The 1-2 punch. So it's an easy, pretty straightforward motion. Just rocks back onto the back foot, transfers the weight, bends the knees, stretches up. Maybe could follow through fractionally more.
He pulls that up quite short, doesn't he?
Yeah, just because sometimes it's not quite as good a weight transference as some of the other players, but he's tremendously strong and tall, so he can get away with it. And as Leighton will notice, can generate plenty of power off the first serve.
Take your seat, please. Thank you.
Well, I wonder who started the trend of the hat backwards.
One guess.
You're to serve here, 1-2.
Good control there by Leighton, just moving the ball around, and in the end Haas running out of patience, going for perhaps a bit too much. but the persistence just too much for him there from Leighton. And on this shot here, just couldn't rally any longer, had to go for it, committed the error.
Yeah, his accuracy is so deadly, isn't it, Leighton? He doesn't overpower his opponents. He's certainly developing his shots to be more heavy as he matures and comes on in years, but his accuracy is incredible. Well, the forehand approach there from Haas was a little wasted. He had an opportunity there to bury that forehand, certainly get it closer to the line. Anyway, he hit it too much down the middle of the court. This is the one he should have hit closer to that outside line, and Leighton was there easily, made him play a low volley. And not easy to get away with a drop volley on this surface. The ball bounces so high. Even if that ball had been in, I'm sure Leighton would have made it.
Left. First service. Game Hewitt.
A good solid game there from Hewitt.
Two
Four
games.
excellent holds of serve to start off this match. 2-2 in the first set.
Tommy Haas, as I said, was a silver medalist at the Sydney Olympics, lost in 5 sets for the gold medal to Russia's Marat Safin. A terrific final it was. Nothing between them. And Haas so close to winning the gold.
Well, magnificent depth there from not only the return of serve, but also the second shot of Hewitt. And Haas trying to generate a lot of power. He had to be way back behind the baseline to counteract that depth. Just overplayed the forehand. Well, he's finding it hard to penetrate against Hewitt and showing a little bit of frustration there, looking up at his coach, Gavin Hopper.
Well, Hewitt misses the ball in this rally, and it drops a bit short, that one, and that really was a straightforward shot from Haas, so showing a little frustration and a little tension here. Big match for him. He'd love to beat Lleyton Hewitt in Adelaide.
Sure, it's the speed of Hewitt also that contributes to the opposition going for that little bit more. No mistake there, and maybe that's where he felt he should have gone. It's a safer shot on the previous point, maybe, but that ball coming through the air a little bit slower. He had time to really get into position.
Well, it was the 1-2 punch we talked about with Haas's serve. Big serve in, sets up the forehand, which he knocks off. Something that Ivan Lendl used to do so well. Heavy first serve and then into position for a big forehand.
Well, he gets away with the ace on the second ball, really went for it, but you know, sometimes I wonder whether that's an indication that he doesn't want to get involved. He doesn't just want to kick the ball in and get involved in a rally with Hewitt.
Oh, pinpoint accuracy. Hewitt was moving in that direction. But again, the first serve followed up by the big forehand. It's the way he's got to approach this match.
Well, called good. Leighton not happy, but Haas gets out of trouble from love 30 down. He serves and hits forehands to get himself out of trouble. He leads 3-2 on serve. Well, it's very clear to know who's playing tonight. Leighton Hewitt from Adelaide, Tommy Haas from Germany. Almost via Florida, I guess you could say. He spent a lot of time in the western side of Florida, in fact, in his young career. Went over there as a young lad, practiced a lot at the Nick Bollettieri Academy.
They've certainly come up through different paths, haven't they? Young Leighton, who learned all his tennis here in Adelaide, and then played the Australian junior tournaments, but quickly through the juniors. By the time he was 16, he was onto our satellite tours. And I can remember watching him as a 16-year-old, and he was impressive without being anything outstanding that you would have thought 3 years later he's the #7 player in the world. I mean, his rise was meteoric, really. Started to get to some finals of some satellites. People started to take notice of him. He was given a wild card into this tournament 3 years ago and got to the final. In fact, won it, beating Agassi, didn't he? And he was on his way.
Correction was good. First serve.
Hasn't looked back, and I don't think will.
Well, he'd be a brave man to suggest that he would look back. He's on a fast-moving train forward. Excellent. That's how you put away a forehand. That's the mistake that Tommy made on his service game, or early in his previous service game, where he got a short ball and didn't hit it close enough to the line. This one is a mishit from Haas. It drops well inside the service line, and Leighton Hewitt putting that ball away within probably 20 centimetres of the sideline.
Leighton's going to win, I think, most of the extended baseline rallies. You can see he has the margin of error in his favour. There's more height on his shots over the net. They're not quite as close to the lines unless they need to be. So he plays just a little bit smarter ground strokes, I feel, than Haas.
Well, already I think Hewitt playing at a higher level than he was last night. Had a bit of a scare in the second round and started very slowly, but serving better, getting a higher percentage of first serves in and getting some free points from the serve early in this match. Quick to get in and take that ball in the air.
Wild one there from Haas, but I guess at 40 love down, he figured the game was just about gone. And John, do you think Leighton Hewitt's forehand's improved a little bit as we watch him in ISO here, as his footwork certainly needed no improvement? He's so quick around the baseline.
Yeah, I think he's generating more power on his forehand than he was 12 months ago. I think
the ability to put the ball away off that side, perhaps.
Look, he's continually improved over the last 12 months. There's no doubt about that. And I was saying earlier that I think Darren takes a lot of credit for that. Darren Cahill.
Absolutely.
He's continually trying to find ways to improve this young man's game, and that's how you reach the pinnacle of the sport.
That's big.
30 left.
Well, if you hear the sound of the ball coming off the strings there of Haas, just so crisp and clean, those ground strokes. Just forcing Hewitt back on his heels there.
Well, a convincing game there from Haas. That's his best one to date. And he leads 4-3 on serve in this first set.
4 games to 3. New ball, please.
Well, we haven't seen a break point yet. For 7 games, the servers have been pretty much in control. Often using it to set up the point. Have a look at the stats. Leighton's first serve could improve a little, although he's doing okay once it goes in. Haas, if he can keep that level of serving up, the first service percentage and the points won, he's in for a big night. They're pretty good figures, those. Unforced errors down the bottom already, quite a few for Haas, but as we said, he's the power hitter. He's got to force the pace in this match. We would expect them to be high there, but we would expect that he would be able to hit a few more winners maybe and force Leighton into a few more errors if he's to win this match. I don't know if there'll be a lot of points won at the net, John. Just players will come in if the opportunity presents itself, but basically I think we'll see a pretty heavy hitting duel from the back of the court.
Well, I think that's one of the major reasons why Leighton has improved in recent times. He seizes the opportunity a bit more now, particularly on the forehand side, to approach off that shot. He's good enough to do it, and he's generating more power on that side. If he hits the ball into the corner from a short shot from his opponent, then move in behind the forehand approach, he volleys almost as well as anyone in the world. You know, it's not his style to try and play like a true serve and volleyer. He's got to work the ball around from the back of the court. That's his strength. And then when he gets the opportunity, he's now coming in a heck of a lot, which is great to see because it gives him another dimension to his game. So far, I'm not so convinced that Haas is doing that as much. I think he's prepared to occasionally. But as time goes on in his career, he might look to maybe try and adopt that policy a little bit as well.
Well, there's an example of the improved pace on the first serve from Hewitt. Hard and flat down the centre. Served very well at the US Open, where he got through to the semi-finals of the singles and won the doubles. What a tournament that was for him. Gets a bit frustrated. You can see Tommy there just muttering to himself. He's got to battle himself on occasions.
Well, he's been very keen for this tournament. He's been here quite a while now, well over a week. He was working hard for the first few days he was here. Oh, what a stretch. That's some of the versatility that we've all seen Leighton develop in recent times. That was a tough shot, and you need a tiny bit of luck, I'm sure, to pull this off, but that was a very good passing shot. But the speed of Leighton to get across there and the anticipation, excellent.
Game Hewitt.
Well, top game from Hewitt. Haas previously won his serve to love.
4 games on.
And Hewitt bounces back in a similar vein.
Both players, Alan, serving at over 60%. Hewitt at 61, Haas at 63. And they need to continue that in the business end of this set, because any second serves will give their opponent an opportunity.
Interestingly there, Leighton brought forward, played a little chip shot, but then moved back. He didn't continue into the net.
Well, I think in this case, probably a good move, because he didn't feel like he had the opportunity there to penetrate much with that low chip he had to make. and maybe he felt like he would have been a sitting duck if he'd followed it into the net.
Well, he was right. He won the point.
And I think upset by the let cord there, Leighton. It was a well-hit return of serve.
15 on.
Hit the tape, bounced up, and that gave Haas the opportunity to really go for that ball down the line. He was cutting it fine.
A bit short in the rally there from Leighton. He was being pushed back all the time.
30-15.
Well, I felt last night, Alan, in his quarter-final match against Bjorn Fau, the young German qualifier, he was really under the gun for the first hour of the match, but he really made an effort to keep his ground strokes deeper in the court.
Just missed it.
40-15.
And Leighton was annoyed with himself, particularly as he started well in the game. When you win the first point at 4-all, I think he thought we really had a good chance of maybe affecting a break. So he's disappointed that he's lost 3 consecutive points. One thing you don't really see the great players do, they pride themselves in not losing too many points in a row.
Well, that was the wrong ball for Tommy to try to go down the line.
40-30.
Very deeply struck groundie from Leighton, just inside the baseline. Haas on the back foot, trying to hit the low percentage shot there, down the line. Wrong choice. Gets the luck. Well, he apologised, Leighton, but deep down you know that those feel really good.
Right, absolutely love them.
And it can be a little bit heartbreaking for a player who has the let good go against him, particularly on a big point like that was. Now Haas under real pressure at 4-all and juice. Cannot afford to make a simple error here.
Thing, isn't it?
It is a cool thing, but there was some hesitation there, I felt, from Haas. Not really wanting, I don't think, to approach off that shot. He was kind of forced to go in. He
lacked a bit of conviction, didn't he?
Yeah, he did lack conviction, and he probably let the ball come to him a little bit too much. He should have moved in quicker and really been aggressive with that approach, but he's facing a break point here now.
Well, he hit 2 very, very close to the line, and annoyed with himself, frustrated really for just pulling the 3rd one. He was living dangerously in that rally. I think he's probably annoyed that he didn't go for a winner down the line, maybe.
And calling himself a pigeon, I think he's fairly wrong there. He's no pigeon.
No.
But probably just slightly, you're right, Alan, just going for the line a bit too much.
It's looking skyward. A little bit of breeze. I think it's swung around a little from this afternoon, but not a major factor, I don't think. See it just ruffling Haas's t-shirt there.
Better points we've seen. Haas hangs on, he saves the break point, he leads 5-4 in this first set.
Adelaide 5 games.
Not quite a full moon.
No, thought you were going to sing there for a minute.
No. Moon River?
By the Lied.
No, I'm not that silly.
Me neither.
I think Tommy would be a little bit. I think Tommy would be a little bit relieved there. That was a pressure moment for him. The first one he's really faced in this first set. Saved the break point. Leighton really had him under pressure. On the break point, he'd made a very deep approach just inside the baseline. His next shot, Leighton, was right next to the sideline, and he certainly had the upper hand in that rally. I think Haas did well to at least keep the ball fairly deep, and Leighton just overplaying the third shot of the rally. He's then really upset with himself. But good tennis we're seeing here, as you'd expect from two high-class players.
Haas seeded 5. Leighton Hewitt seeded 1. The defending champion.
Place already, thank you.
4-5.
Great shot from Hewitt. That's a shot he's starting to incorporate a little more into his game. His stock one is across court because it's so safe.
Well, he refuses to be pushed back here, keeps his position in the court, and then just leans forward onto that one, rifles it down the line. Tough to do, to change the line of flight when the ball's been coming across court to you and you quickly hit it down the line. Timing, the footwork, it all has to be spot on. First double fault
from either player.
Just collapsed a little on that second serve, didn't stretch up for it. Danger point now of this first set. I don't think we'll see Haas play safe or pull back for 5-15-30. He will really go for these next couple. Well, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a double fault. May have shook him up a little on the second point because he hit such a fantastic winner to open the game. A double fault, now a couple of other errors, and all of a sudden, almost nowhere.
Almost against the trend of play, isn't it, really? 2 set points to Haas.
Yes, it was called good.
Game first set, Haas. 6 games to 4.
Leighton frustrated. I think he thought the call was correct initially, that it was out. Let's see if we can pick this up.
Boy, it was tight.
It was tight, wasn't it?
I mean, it's the line that Romano was on top of.
I think what Leighton's annoyed at, that he's overruled on a set point. Such a huge point. Umpire linesman called it wide and quickly overruled by Romano Grillato to actually give Haas the set. Huge overrule.
Pretty difficult to see. Pretty darn difficult there.
Actually,
It was well hit, that's for sure.
watching it live, I thought it might have actually just missed. When I watch it again here, not so certain, but live, I thought it may have just missed. Haas thought it was good, and he was about to protest, but immediately the overrule came, and Leighton very frustrated. Oh, no doubt we'll get a code warning, I'd say, for putting that ball outside the stadium here. So it was a brave overrule, wasn't it?
Well, it was. It was, at least, I guess it was on the side of the court where the umpire's sitting. If that ball had been on the opposite side of the court, he really would have had no alternative but to probably go with the linesman's call, I would have thought. Look, it was a high standard first set. It could have gone either way. Tommy Haas faced a break point in the previous game, and there really was nothing in that first set. Sometimes that's the nature of the beast. You know, this game of tennis, it can fluctuate, vary, and there's changes of momentum. And sometimes you feel pretty hard done by when you think you've played well enough possibly to win the set, and all of a sudden you find you've got a deficit on your hands.
Somewhat of a surprise to see the set end like that. Had no real indication that Hewitt was going to drop serve. Started the game with a classic winner. A couple of errors, though, shook him up. And it's the first set to Tommy Haas. Serving now to open the second.
Love 15.
This is an important game now for both players. Leighton with an opportunity in the first game of this set now to maybe forge ahead. Hasn't broken serve to date. Plays a good long rally here. Haas had the opening to a degree down the line, but it was a small area he had to hit that ball into. So love 30. And no rest here for the young German after securing that first set.
Left for service.
Overplaying that time. He got away with it in one of the games in the first set where he went for the ace, Alan, didn't he? On a second serve. But I can't help thinking it's an indication that he's very aware of the talents of Hewitt when they get involved in a back court rally, and he doesn't want to get involved in long rallies too much. 3 break points to Hewitt here. Oh, that's a big
15,
one.
14.
Well, he doesn't back away. Most people wouldn't really go for a shot like this when you're down love 40. hardly what you'd call a percentage shot, but that's the way he plays his tennis, Haas. And look at that one for power and depth.
30-40.
No half measures there of just trying to ease that ball in and look for a volley.
Yeah, first serve setting up that winner. Still one break point to Hewitt.
Let. First service.
Gee, that's courage, isn't it, to hit the ball that hard and that close to the line. Well, Leighton, I don't know if he agrees with us, but I've no doubt that ball was good. Just breathtaking shot making from Haas from love 40. Backhand winner and two huge forehand winners. And a miss hit.
Advantage, Hewitt.
Well, you're bound to miss a few if
Oh,
you
you gotta.
continue to go for those shots. Fourth break point here for Hewitt in this opening game of the second set.
Fault. Game, Hewitt.
Well, I guess to a degree, if you're Tommy Haas there in that game, if you live by the sword, you die by it sometimes. I mean, he played 3 outstanding points to get back into that game, and then just finally feels he has to overplay, and he drags that one down into the net, and you can see now, you could hear Leighton with his shout of joy there. He knew that that was a big point, no question.
Well, Haas, it's high-risk tennis, isn't it, that he plays, and when it's on song, it's just majestic. It's just terrific to watch, but you're just on the knife edge all the time with his game. Is he going to self-destruct sometimes? And that little bit of fragility, I think, about his temperament and about the ability to go for these shots all the time. He can just temper that.
Thank you.
I mean, I just don't see how he isn't going to be a great player if he can just temper that little bit of impetuosity.
Fault.
Pinpoint accuracy from Hewitt. No doubt that early break of serve in the second set will lift his spirits, which were a little down. Controversial end to the first set. He felt he received a bad overrule that cost him the set. There's so many close balls that aren't overruled. I think that's what frustrates the players, when all of a sudden there is an overrule and it's a point like a set point.
30 left.
And of course, then there's the danger, you know, of Haas. If he goes for some good shots, makes them, then misses the odd one, he might continue to go a little bit more. And at some stage, you've got to cross the line of safety, don't you?
Yep.
14 left.
This is a terrific game for Leighton here, consolidating that break in the first game. And in fact, Alan, it's incredible to know that Leighton, out of the 16 wins he's had here at the Drive, 16 out of 17 matches he's played, he's lost the first set 7 times and come back to win every time.
Game, Hewitt.
So he consolidates that break.
Hewitt, 2 games.
Just
to
an
love.
indication, you know, coming from behind like that, you've got a fighter on your hands.
You sure have.
If you're a player playing against him down the other end of the court, you really have to put Leighton Hewitt away to beat him. he's not going to ever roll over and give you an easy victory.
If I had to have someone playing for my house, I wouldn't mind it being Leighton.
And just starting to spray a few balls now, Tommy.
This is where it's a vital stage in the match for him, where he got to be careful. He could let it all slip here, and Hewitt could be presented with a pretty quick set. Yeah, too good. Acknowledged by Hewitt. That was a tough smash in the gathering night here at Memorial Drive. A difficult time of the evening with the lights just starting to have their effect. So tough shot, well handled. Excellent depth on that second serve.
Let. First service.
Tommy,
is it a crow, is it, or what?
It is a bird just making a very loud noise in the background.
Noise, yeah.
Squawking.
Have to be a crow, wouldn't it? The Adelaide Crows play here. Certainly broken his concentration at an absolute key time. He's down 2-love in the second. It's 30 all on serve.
And he needs to be very careful here.
He does.
Players ready, thank you. Thank you.
And the bird was squawking again during the throw up, and he missed that one by a long way. Yeah, good solid point from Hewitt. Yep. Just what the doctor ordered there. Haas a little bit on the knife edge here at the moment. He's 30, a bit tense. 40. Starting to spray a few balls. Leighton keeping every ball in and keeping them deep. Making Haas go for that little bit extra. Break point. Oh, big serve.
Yes, beautifully placed. Power.
Well, he hadn't made that serve, Alan. The set may well have been in the history books. 2 breaks of serve would have been a big deficit.
No real reason to hit the ball quite that hard or quite that close to the top of the net, is there, in the rallies?
Not really. He's pressing so much on every shot. I think he's better off using more clearance, giving more room for error to his shots, and then when he gets the right ball, then go for the big one.
So, second opportunity for Hewitt, this time on a second serve.
Oh, it's a bad shot. A very poor shot selection there, and Leighton really has him worried. It's 3-love, 2 breaks in the second set. Yeah, a little more content with the situation. Darren Cahill in the middle of the screen there at the front with the trendy little blue hat on.
Yeah.
Kim Dillon on his left.
Has he grown a beard there, Leighton? Killer, Darren Cahill, or just
laziness?
Less lazy today. Yeah.
But that was a very poor selection, wasn't it? That last shot from Tommy Haas. It was as if he thought, I think, that he didn't know a way of beating Leighton in that point, and to do it on break point, boy, just a gift to Hewitt. I think Haas probably has to temper his game, like we've talked about. There's no point in going for the extremes every time he lays the strings on the ball. He needs to play with a little bit more conservatively, I think. Keep the ball in court easily, maybe give it more margin over the net, a little bit closer inside the sidelines, and then if Leighton drops one short, which he doesn't often, but if he does, then Haas can go for the big one, maybe go for the outright winner. Just playing too close to the wind at the moment. 3-love Hewitt.
I think it's a mental thing with Tommy. He's just not prepared to play that sort of game. And it's going to just stop him from getting to the very top level, I believe. And it's just wonderful shot making that he can play, and Hewitt acknowledging that. I mean, Leighton can't match that sort of power. But Leighton is a tremendous competitor who obeys the first rule of tennis, which is to keep the ball in play. Get it over the net and inside the line.
Left. For service.
I think his service action is smoother tonight. He's certainly serving better than he did 24 hours ago on this court. Looking quite relaxed on the motion. Good free point there.
15.
And he's often talked about that. It's very handy to be able to get some of those in the course of a set. Another low percentage shot. And they're just free points. If you're down there at the opposite end and you start getting some of those coming your way, well, it's like it's Christmas. Great gift.
John, you're in for an interesting year as our new Davis Cup captain, so you'll be sitting courtside with Leighton on screen there, changing ends. Think you'll have a lot to say to him, or obviously it'll depend on the state of a match, but he looks pretty coachable sort of young lad, doesn't he?
Well, he surges ahead here 4-love in this second set, and I think it's fair to say that whatever he's been doing over the last 12 months, he should just continue. maybe just don't say much at all. Just let him play his own free-flowing game. He's just such a great talent. We're just delighted to have him playing for our country.
You think you'd be able to get him to try a bit harder, perhaps, or just?
He's got that handled. 4-love, a big lead now early in the second.
Got it.
And Haas needs to settle down here. He really needs to get on the board in the second set. If he's to lose this 6-love in very short time, it really puts him on the back foot for the third set, and certainly would have Hewitt's confidence at a very high ebb.
Love 30.
Well, it would appear that he's almost conceded this set.
Yeah, he's mentally sort of broken down, hasn't he?
Yep.
Oh, goodness, that's a bad double.
Yeah.
That's as if he's given this set away in his mind. That's the problem playing a player with like Hewitt, who has such consistency. You have to play at a high level for a long period of time to beat him. There it is, it's 5 love. This set is almost finished. And there's Gavin Hopper.
Hewitt leads 5 games
Won't be
to
happy
love.
with the last 15 minutes.
He won't.
18 minutes.
Well, I think it's one of the things that he knows about Haas. All the players and the coaches on the tour know of the tremendous talent that he's got. But as I said, there's a certain fragility about his temperament. And it's just high-risk tennis that he plays. And then when he misses some of those shots, he makes tremendous winners. When he misses some, he gets a little frustrated. And as you said, really, he's got the power, he's got the game. He just needs to play just a little bit more within himself. Just pick the right ball. There's no way he should be down 5 love in the second set with the way he's played and hit the ball the first set.
Well, that's right. He played such a high standard in the first. Both players did. But to beat Hewitt, you've got to continue that standard.
Yeah.
And if you drop off, that's the advantage Leighton has. If the opponent drops off just that, well, even 5%, they're in trouble. But Tommy has really dropped off a lot more than that. And you can see there that his first serves are only going in 50% of the time. Look at the unforced errors. That's the stat that's turned this match right around. 29 compared to 8. And he's too good a player, isn't he, Alan?
Yeah.
I think, to be committing that many unforced errors. You know, when you take into consideration they've only played 15 games in this match.
Well, there's been 13 unforced errors come from the racket of Haas in this second set in 5 games. So he's,
well, that's a staggering stat.
yeah, that's really just donating a set of tennis.
Well, he should try to make some sort of inroads here if he wants to be ready mentally to start the third.
Left for service.
Stranger things have happened, but you'd imagine that this set, well, it's almost in the bag for Hewitt here.
Fault.
And confidence and form is not something that just flows like water from a tap. You can't all of a sudden say, right, now I'm going to concentrate and start hitting great shots again, when you haven't been in that frame of mind for 20 minutes or so.
Left for service.
You know, Andre Agassi comes to mind, Alan. You know, early in his career, he used to do this quite often.
He did.
He might
Yep.
win the first set, get down early in the second, and almost give away a set. But it's so dangerous. You know, he was a good enough player, I guess, to win the majority of those third sets. But
Left.
it's not an advisable thing to do.
No, and Haas is not quite in the Agassi category yet.
Boy, really gone off the boil. Those unforced errors continue to mount.
30-15.
The only thing in his favour will be that he'll be serving first in the third set.
Well, he needs to get his act together at the change of ends after this second's finished if he's going to have any chance.
Well, 2 doubles in this game from Leighton.
30.
I mean, the pressure valve's really been released, hasn't it? The set's in his pocket, so he's just dropped his intensity fractionally.
40-30.
Well, after seeing such a high standard first set, this one's, well, the complete opposite really from the racket of Tommy Haas. It's a set point now to Leighton to square this match up. It's all over the second set. Hewitt draws level. It's 1 set all. In that concentration that he had at the start of this match, it's not easy, as we've talked about, to go from such a good set and then play such a shocker and completely lose it. It's tough to rebound from that, isn't it?
Well, it is. At least we know he's got the talent to do it. It's whether the first game will tell the story. If he comes out and plays a good game on his serve, he looks pretty relaxed there. I mean, it's a set all. He's been in this position millions of times in his tennis career and come back and won the third set. I would have to think, though, that that's a pretty devastating loss, the way he capitulated and gave that set away. So it would take pretty special effort, I think, for him to be able to turn it all around. So I'd have to think Leighton be favoured now to go on through to the semi-finals. But we'll see.
Well, I think he was probably, well, he definitely was on paper. He was favourite to win this match before it started. We all know the talents of Tommy Haas, but yeah, that can be a devastating loss, a set like that. Let's see if he can regain his composure. He looked like he was really making a big effort to get his concentration back there, but fairly worrying for a coach sitting on the side of the court to see your player give it away like that. It's rather an eye-opener, and I think very encouraging to opposition players if they know there's just a little bit of that in the body of their opponent. Let's see what happens. First game, third set.
And a little bit more purpose about his movement towards that short ball from Haas.
Yeah, well struck forehand there, into position. Makes a big difference, doesn't it, when you get those feet moving into position? Makes the game a lot easier. He looks worried though, doesn't he? Leighton now is very intense, keeping the ball in, he's keeping it deep, probably a little bit deeper than he was in the first set, which is a great sign. He's been able to adapt the length. And a few very big points ahead in this game.
Annoyed with himself there. He hates to miss a straightforward shot, doesn't he? And he misses so few of them. It's come as a bit of a surprise to him, I think.
I think those important points that we talked about in front of us just right here in the immediate future, they could set the trend for the rest of this third set and the match.
40-15.
Well, maybe Tommy will get on the board early in the third. And then we might have a ball game.
Game on.
Well, he served well there. And I'm sure that'll be a relief not only to him, but to Gavin Hopper sitting in the stands. He's on the board in the third. He's made up for that bagel in the second set there to a degree.
Well, I think he just let it slip the last couple of games. I guess he figured there's no way he's going to come back from 2 breaks down. And then once he's 5-love, I mean, he might as well let Hewitt have that game so that he can start serving first in the third set anyway. I think that's the way he was probably, his thought process was working.
Well, he He could have made an attempt to break serve, and if he had a broken serve, then he could have held his own serve in the second set. I mean, you never know what can happen then.
Well, that's what you and I would have tried to do, but we're probably brought up in a different school.
You weren't bagelled too many times, were you, Tony? Hewitt to serve now. It's an important game for him. Love one. Excellent footwork from Hewitt. Great approach. And the lob was higher, but it just wasn't quite deep enough. It was inside the service line. Quite a simple smash for a player of Hewitt's capabilities. Great approach. Sets up this smash. Don't get me wrong, this is not so easy, but for a player of his standing, you'd expect him to rarely miss that shot.
Actually, he's got a very good smash for someone who doesn't come to the net that often. Very rarely does he miss an overhead.
That's the best point we've seen from Haas for 20 minutes. Since the end of the first set, he's got his head down into this match again.
Well, I think we're expecting him to really come out all guns blazing in the third set. Hewitt just forced to take some time here. Just regain his composure. He was really worked over in that last point. Tennis.
What a marvellous point that was.
Well, crowd really showing their appreciation. Just an outstanding rally. Two players at the top of their game in that point.
Haas probably having the upper hand for the majority of that point. He was the one dictating a little more. Leighton was a little bit reactive in that point, as he was forced to be.
Player ready, thank you.
Big point here.
Yes, Haas certainly earned a break point there.
He didn't do enough with it, Leighton.
Game Haas.
Didn't quite do enough with that approach. He hit an excellent first serve. Haas did very well. Leighton trying to go behind Haas, which wasn't a bad tactic, but he just didn't hit it quite with enough penetration. So, I guess if you're going to lose your serve early and go down a break, you might as well do it the first time you serve in a set. He's got 4 opportunities then to try and break back. Haas with the early upper hand here.
Well, now he's dangerous because we know that he's going to compete for all it's worth now. He's off to the start that he wanted in this third set.
Fault.
It's going to take a pretty big effort from Hewitt, I think, to win this match from here.
Court coverage from Hewitt.
Perfect lob.
Well, there was just a little lull in this match.
Yeah.
Alan, in the first set was such a high standard, and now all of a sudden we've got it again. It may be even better than it was in the first set. Some of these points are outstanding. Great court coverage from Leighton there.
Just hit with too much power there. Hewitt was moving to the cross court, but really a ferocious drive. As quick as he is, he's just unable to deal with it.
.30-15.
And the big difference here is that Tommy Haas has been able to hit the ball awfully hard in the last 10 minutes, and he's making very few unforced errors now. Keeping the ball in play, that's the secret.
Forced really to come forward, but I think he should have hit it down the line from where he was in the court.
40-15.
Forced him to cover a tremendous amount of ground here. How's he ever going to get to that one down the line? He really needed to hit his approach down the line. Haas would have been there, but at least Leighton would have had net position.
Oh. 40-13.
Little nod of approval there from Haas. Wasn't a bad serve, he was thinking.
Game Haas.
Oh, wonderful power hitting.
He wins the third game of this set, and he's got a really handy lead now, Tommy Haas, 3-love.
Well, we wondered if he'd be able to come back. We knew he had the ability. It was just a question of mentally, was he able to regain his game? As we watch him in ISO here, the bounce, the strength, those legs as he moves around, gets into position quickly, little steps to adjust there to take it on his forehand, which he hammers into the corner.
Time.
So this crowd here just a little bit stunned, as indeed I think we probably are here, Alan. 3-love down to Leighton Hewitt. Tommy Haas really regained his regaining his composure beyond doubt. Stepped up his intensity, his concentration level. And you can see there how focused he is. Still got a fair way to go here. He has to be able to win 3 more games against a ferocious competitor.
Thank you. Thank you.
But in the box seat now for this match, Haas, Leighton Hewitt trailing love 3 in the 3rd.
Left.
Good tennis. The forehand really going well off the racket there for Haas. He's causing a lot of damage with that shot. Moving Hewitt around from the back of the court. Ton of power there and finishing it off with a beautiful off forehand. Have to call that a free point, which takes the pressure off slightly.
Out.
Just wide.
30 all.
Frustration evident from Leighton. Clearly wide. Big point for him. Must hold this service game. Pulled it wide.
And this is real trouble here, Alan.
30-40.
Already down a break. And really under the pump now. This is a must-win point you'd expect from Hewitt's point of view. Break point for a 4-love lead for Tommy Haas.
Thank you.
And he gets it, Haas.
Well, he had the upper hand again in that rally, didn't he? He was pressing. He was the player making most of the moves towards the lines. And Leighton really scrambling for most of that rally. Just can't come up with the cross-court forehand there. And now Haas, well, he's looking awfully dangerous now.
We've got to give him credit, haven't we? Because the way he finished off the second set, we know he allowed it to slip in an effort to regain his composure at the start of the third. I don't think we really thought that he'd be able to regain it quite as well as this.
15 left.
And his confidence is really on a roll, isn't it? I mean, he's such a dangerous player when he gets ahead, good front runner. And his confidence has been building very rapidly in the last 15 minutes. Serving well now, and an easy game is building here for him as well.
Well, I think the crowd's a bit stunned. Hewitt winning the second set 6-love. They're stunned to see a complete reversal on its way here in the third. Crowd trying to lift their local hero.
Oh. 40-15.
And another powerful serve, though.
Well, as so many good front runners do, you know, once you get the bit between your teeth and you get the break, particularly two breaks up in the third, you start serving very well. First serve he's missed in this game. So he's got a 5-love lead now, Tommy Haas, in this third set. And now Haas from nowhere turning it around. Got the early break and he's surged ahead now in this third set and looks almost unbeatable at this stage.
Well, the key was the start to the third set, wasn't it? We thought that if Haas could regroup, could start well and maybe apply a bit of pressure, get back to the form that he had in the first set, we'd get a match. But once he held serve and then broke in the second game of this third set, his confidence lifted. And he is producing some awesome tennis now. Crowd really trying to fire up their hero. But it's rather a formidable task from 5-love down. We know that Leighton won't give up.
Love 15. Out.
So Hewitt desperate to hold on to this serve, at least make Haas serve for the match. But well anticipated, everything working out now for Haas, picking that forehand of Hewitt's, was there for it and replied with a fine topspin lob. Leighton's great run here at Adelaide of either winning or being in the final the last 3 years is under threat here in this quarter-final match. A chance for Hewitt to get on the scoreboard here. Oh, that is too good. Acknowledged by Leighton. Just a blinding backhand down the line. a tremendous shot maker he is, Haas. I don't think that's ever been under question, really. Hewitt replying with a backhand down the line of his own.
Game Hewitt.
Hewitt on the scoreboard. Crowd urging him on.
Haas leads 5 games to 1.
Hoping for perhaps some miracle comeback from their hero here at Memorial Drive. It's a big ask against a player now who really is in full flight. So Tommy Haas, the number 5 seed, serving for a place in the semi-final here. Faint hope of maybe sneaking a break back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, just too heavy hitting. Again, the forehand. What a wonderful shot it's been for Haas. An example, really, of the modern game of tennis these days, this forehand from Haas. Huge hip and shoulder rotation, racket head speed, and tremendous force. Just getting a little front on there. Thinking he pushed the ball wide. So the top seed and defending champion here really on the ropes, Leighton Hewitt. And just about down and out. It's 2 match points for Germany's Tommy Haas. Miraculous turnaround from the second set, which he dropped 6-love. Very high quality first set. He won 6-4. So it's been a match of contrasts. And that's the match. Tommy Haas has defeated Leighton Hewitt. The number 1 seed and defending champion is out.
6-1.
Congratulates Haas. Magnificent display in that third set. Hewitt perhaps thinking when he won the second set 6-love that things had really turned around. May have taken his foot off the pedal a little bit. But full marks to Haas. He was the one who had to regroup. He was the one who had to turn it around in the third set after being demolished in the second set. And he certainly was able to do that. We have a look at the first service percentage, pretty similar for both players, but you can see the power of Haas on the first serve, giving him the extra percentage there. Forehand winners was big, 9 for Haas, and many other forehands that he forced Leighton Hewitt into error with. The points at the net weren't really a factor. Haas making more unforced errors, but then again he was the player who was going for the shots, and in the end the unforced errors really didn't hurt him anyway. He was just, in fact, too strong on the night for